to do roll call.
Board Chair Carolyn Bradford.
Here.
Vice Chair Johnny Warren.
Here.
Board Member Daniel Case.
Here.
Board Member Jennifer Hartline. Board Member Dr. Jane Griffin.
Here.
And Superintendent Josh Engel.
Here.
Mr. Moore, did you go on vacation?
Sure. Heavenly Father, Lord, we love Him. We thank you for the privilege of being here, for each one in attendance as always. And Lord, as we've received your blessings throughout the past, and I pray that as we begin this new school year, that you would extend those blessings to us. Give us wisdom on everything that's said and done. Get honor and glory out of everything that's said and done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please stand for the pledge. Attention. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
Make a motion.
I second. All in favor? The next item is approval of minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the regular scheduled board meeting minutes for June 27th, 22, and the call meeting minutes for Superintendent's evaluation, June 27th?
Second.
All in favor? All right, next is superintendent's report.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bradford. First item under superintendent's report is a school safety update. On July the 6th, we held a meeting here. The boardroom was, quite full. And the meeting was to review and discuss our safety procedures and protocols. Information about that, about school safety when presents under his department report. But we had representatives from the Sheriff's Department, a couple of our SROs were here. We had representatives from the Department of Natural Resources, Georgia Emergency Management Agency, and some other local folks here. But it was the takeaway from that meeting was it was a true partnership between those agencies and our school district, doing whatever it takes to make sure that our kids, our staff members are protected and kept safe. There's been several things that have happened since that meeting. Of course, Mr. Gordon will update the board during his department report. The next item under superintendent's report is public input code of conduct. This is whenever citizens want to speak to the board. We have a procedure in place, public input code of conduct that's available for the citizens prior to when they speak. They come in, they can take a copy of the procedure is made available for them when they sign in, and then they complete the bottom of the sheet, write their name, address, phone number, and what it is that they intend to address the board with. And once we get to public input on the agenda, we call for that, and then Ms. Bradford reads them any other necessary items prior to the public addressing the board. So just wanted to review this and make sure everyone knew that this was our current procedure. The next item under superintendent report is recognition of our stakeholders, Character Strong in Dade County Schools, and this is turning our focus to our internal stakeholders. Lamerle Howard, she's been working morning, day, and night on getting all the Infinite Campus items squared away, getting schedules, helping the counselors get schedules organized. Our custodians, maintenance, facilities, and transportation. Here you have Miss Debbie and Kay, our Davis custodians. right under Miss Vivian Kay, you have our Dade Elementary custodians. And then we have our Dade Middle custodians. And then we have some of our grounds crew folks. All of these individuals have been working long, hard hours. There's Levi from the Transportation Department, getting our buses prepared to roll for this next school year. All these individuals have been doing so much work behind the scenes, getting ready to start this next school year, whether it's maintaining the grounds, maintaining our facilities, maintaining the buses. There's been a lot of hard work and a lot of hours into getting school prepared for this next school year. So I certainly appreciate every single one of them and everything that they do. Even, our student there, Mr. Stafford, who has been working with maintenance, with summer help. I know he's been an asset to our grounds crew. And I know that both John and Mr. Chambliss will miss him when school gets back up and going, but he's been a great help this summer. So a shout out to maintenance, custodians, facilities, transportation, and our Mr. Merle Howard for everything they've done this summer. The next item under superintendent's report will be our department report, and the first director to speak will be Chris Green.
Give you just a couple of quick little updates on the stuff from this summer, as far as where we are. We got the new server room cabinetry and wiring. That was completed. We talked a little bit about that last time. Everything's going smoothly with that. Looks a lot better now. They're being properly cooled. A lot of our stuff's running a lot better, a lot less loud fans running, things like that. We did do that changeover to the new network managed services group from MCA to Invicta, and so far they've been great. I mean, we're getting response time usually within minutes, not hours, if not days. And if you remember, they were also like $20,000 cheaper a year. So they've been great so far. In speaking to some stuff that we talked about with safety, last time we looked at the thing with doing the high school access control and doing all the doors. From our part of it, the equipment has been ordered. So that's not us, but that has happened. And with the way things come in, it's kind of slow these days for anything to arrive. From our end, the only thing that we had to do to this point is build a new, access control server that'll do all the doors, even the existing ones in other buildings. That's complete, it's working, it's fully functional. So we're already controlling the other doors on it.
So that makes it when we expand,
Yeah,
it's already in place.
we can do as many doors as we want on this. With the new enterprise licensing, before we were like, adding that many would put us right at the limit. So, but part of the price was enterprise licensing, so we can do as many doors or access points as we need to throughout the system. All our servers are virtual. We build them ourselves, so it doesn't cost us anything. Versus in the old days, you'd pay $10,000-$12,000 for server capable. They're all virtual, so that was another little savings. So it's been a much less active summer than last summer because we did so many projects. It was like all day, every day. And we've even to this point had time to hook all the teachers' computers back up. So when they walk in the room, they should be connected. So that's one other thing. And seeing the maintenance people, they've been phenomenal to work with us on the floor waxing to let us get in some areas, let us finish up. So working together, the different departments. My only new thing is I've talked many times about Chromebooks reaching end of life, and we're at that point. We had 250 reach end of life at the end of June. In order to get them in any kind of expedient manner to have them and have them on site so we can have them for the kids. Without them, we're down some. Have to start shifting class size sets and things to the point where basically may not have the device in every kid's hand. That's why it's urgent to get them to them as fast as possible. We found a group this is through a federal pricing, so it's already a pre-approved price by the government. So it's not like a normal bid process, but it's where you go out and get these prices that are preset. These are slightly more expensive than ones we've had before, but they are in it's called the new Lenovo Tough Case, which is designed for hard surface, 5-foot fall with no damage. we lose at least a screen on that every time. Right now, screens are $40 to $50.
But that's not a challenge.
No, no, you know.
It's not a challenge.
The good news is when we take these out of service, the 1,600 that we did last time, we pull all the screens off of them. It's pretty much the only interchangeable part, but then we have that times 50, you know, I mean, just sitting there waiting to be used. And we've used hundreds, so let's put it that way, through time. We haven't bought any since like year one, so we're continuing to do that. But that, the pricing is, like I said, they're a little bit higher, but that's because we went with that. And I think in the future, it's probably a good idea to stay with that type of case. Because anywhere they're gonna drop them, whether it be here, home, anywhere, it's gonna be on a hard surface, almost always. And when that happens, we are doing some repairs. And so at this point, they're designed to basically absorb that. So that's why, like I said, they're a little higher than they were the time before. But anyway, we've found a group that's already a pre-approved federal price, and we're recommending that we get that $250. And that's nothing new, that's nothing extra, it's to replace the $250 that went out of service at the end of June. So, any questions on? Yes.
Yeah, so obviously the Chromebooks are used in class.
Yes.
And in class, since we're not virtual this
Right,
year.
right.
So far.
Yes.
But I'm assuming that also teachers make assignments for at home with Chromebooks.
To this point, we've kind of had a varied, some places take them home, some don't, due to having kids with it, but that is definitely always a possibility. In the schools that are doing classroom sets, typically it'd be a teacher assigning it, and then they sign them out and take them home. So yes, they work just fine at home. So.
Right, and so, which is wonderful.
Yes.
But any movement on kids having Wi-Fi access?
Right.
And what those percentages are, and any
Right.
movement on that in the community?
There's still a big push in Georgia through the state to do that at this point. And I've attended some meetings with RISA where there's some like regional pushes to do the exact same thing. From our end of it, the only thing we've had a chance to get is we've had, if you're located in certain housing that's classified as government housing, which we don't have a lot of in Dade County, it makes every child qualify for that. So we've had like Auburn Ridge and then one other place here that's like that. Any child that lives that has those addresses, we basically contact the parent and say, this is available, would you like it, would you not? We don't want to just send them home and go. In that case, they're sending access points. They're T-Mobile access points, and that's still available, still ongoing, but that's the only active program for which we qualify right now. And I guess the good news is with the big grant that TVN got to get their fiber completed throughout the county, we're going to be very ready to make a move like that should the state get the go ahead to do something like that. So we're kind of on ready. But that's the challenge with sending them home. If a kid doesn't have access to internet, they can do some local things, but they don't have the same capabilities that the other kid would, which is a limitation big time.
So it's still just kind of resting on the
Yes.
state.
It is at this point, yes.
Chris, do you have any idea, I don't want to put you on the spot,
Yeah.
but any idea what percentage we're talking about?
I don't at this point, but I can get that information for you guys. For what, I mean, it's best we can find out. I think we may have done it on a survey. At some point in time, we can do a new survey or add it to one we're doing currently.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I am as well. As far as the last time we looked, I can't even, I'd hate to say because I think I would be off.
Maybe it's gone down, maybe the
Right,
percentage of kids. is gone down
exactly.
too.
And I'm hoping that if nothing else, it's been 3 years since I sat on one that I felt was super promising. And then we got into COVID where it would have been even more helpful to everyone, but it kind of just got pushed to the side as they worried about the pandemic at that point in time. So, but that one was doing wireless statewide. They'd done basically a kind of a pilot county where they put it through. It was really kind of like us, a lot of rolling hills, mountainous, because even like with those T-Mobile ones, the areas that they're in, they work great. And in the case of those that provided, you can even get a different, they can switch you to the other companies. The only reason they went with T-Mobile is they were the ones that said they're good until 1 year after COVID has been declared by whatever entity declares it over. And 1 year after that, T-Mobile said they would go at least an additional 2 years on them, so that if the kids were using them, they still have them. So, and when they get them, they're theirs to keep. We don't do the maintenance. It's just like they had bought the service but don't pay for it. So it's their hotspot. Get one repair, and after that, you don't get another one. But so But right at this point, I would love to see it, but it's kind of in the hands of state legislatures right now. I can't believe that it hasn't happened, to be honest, but it hasn't happened, so.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other? Yep. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Next, department report representative, we have Ms. Susan Ray, Director of Special Programs and Pre-K.
Just have a quick little slideshow with some pictures, just to give you guys some good news and let you know some neat things that we have going on. We are doing some community-based instruction with our functional program students, and I wanted to share some of the neat things that we did last year with Resident. Thank you, appreciate that. This is we call them the Dade Explorers. They all have shirts, so if you see them out, they're Dade County colors. They'll say Dade Explorers, but they went took a couple groups to the public library. They all came away with a free book, so they were super excited about that. Asked lots and lots of questions. Some of them had not been to the library in a long time, and some of them didn't know that it's more than just a library with books. It's actually got all this cool technology. Some of them, teachers told me that their families went back and they took their younger siblings, and they've discovered all the that things that the library is doing. Group went to ride on the train up in Chattanooga, and actually the driver of the train is Zach Langley, who's a former DCHS student, and so he was super excited about that. Some of them had never been on the train. That was kind of neat. Turn the thing off, I'm sorry. This is kind of the meat of what we do. We do daily living skills. We do meal preps, meal planning. They do shopping and then preparing meals if you ever get a chance. We do at the high school. They have our Star Kids Cafe, and so they do it usually at holiday times, and they prepare meals. They go out into their school community and they sell things to faculty members. So they're counting money, they're taking orders, they're delivering orders. They love doing that kind of thing. And then they went to the bank, and Mr. Austin showed them around. The coolest thing that happened that day is they got to go in the vault. They were all excited about that because not everybody gets to go in the vault. A couple of them said they want to work at the bank, so that's just neat. So we will be doing more of those things. We have a couple of our functional program staff members trained on driving the activity buses. We've got 3 more that are going through training this week, so all they have to worry about is scheduling the bus. So they're driving themselves and going out and doing things in the community.
That's great.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Next, under department report, we have Director of Federal Programs and Safety, Mr. Jeremy Flordy, to give you an update.
Good evening. So this is my first meeting with you all and first report. So I want to just tell you who I am, if you don't know who I am. My name is Jeremy Rordink. I'm coming to you from Walker County Schools, just up and over. 23 years in education there. 7 years as a teacher, 4 years as an assistant principal, and 12 years as principal at Fairland Elementary School. Was there for a long time. I miss my family up there, but looking forward to serving Dade County and the family that I've already started down here. Everyone's been very welcoming, very professional, making me feel welcome. So I appreciate that. And Josh and I known each other for a while, kind of going back, but we disconnected for a while. We got our masters together and our specialists together, and things kind of had their way of working their way back together for us to work together. So I'm excited about that. Just to tell you about myself personally a little bit, I have 3 kids. I have a 22-year-old, I have a 19-year-old, and I have a 16-year-old. The goal was to have the kids when I was young so that when I get older, they're out of the house. And always remember, the goal is independence. Don't make it too comfortable for them where they want to stay. My 22-year-old is out on his own. He works for Roper in Lafayette. My son, who's 19, is an engineering degree major at Covenant College, and my daughter Elena is 16 and she'll be going to Oakwood in Chippewa. She was at Regional High School this past year, and it's time for a change. So I'm excited. I live up on Lookout Mountain in Rising Fawn, so I'm in the community and vested in this community, and I'm here for the kids. I love kids. I love kids from all backgrounds, socioeconomic, academic, and that's the reason why I get up in the morning, and that's the reason why I'm here. So it's a pleasure to serve you all and a pleasure to be here. One of the things I just wanted to start going over real quickly was safety. Mr. Engel had alluded to this. Safety is a topic right now, but it's something that we should all be prepared for, even in Dade County. It's a situation where it can happen here, and we need to be prepared and we need to be ready for that. And so July 6th, as Mr. Engel spoke about, we did meet with Dade County Sheriff's Department and some other entities, and we just talked about what their concerns were, what our concerns were. There's a lot of police officers on the force that have not stepped foot in the buildings. We have our SRO officers, but there's a lot of other officers that patrol and have not. So one of the things we did was we opened our doors up to them, to where if they're on patrol and they want to come visit the schools, they can do that. So we talked about that, but then we also talked about let's do some walkthroughs. So we conducted at 3 of the 4 schools walkthroughs with Trenton City Police Department and the Sheriff's Department, and we walked through each building. Davis, we weren't able to do because of floor waxing and scheduling and vacations, so we will do that the first week in August, which is next week. So we'll conduct a walkthrough just with police where they can ask questions, they can kind of see how protocols go, and just become familiar with the buildings. One of the things, being on the outside coming in, is you all should be very proud of the safety that you have in place already. The fact that there are SROs at every single school is a blessing. You have a police department that is highly engaged and proactive. They kind of came to us and continue to come to us with questions and ideas, and you don't see that everywhere. And so we want to make sure as a school system we're doing our part to prepare teachers, to prepare administrators in the event that something happens. So part of those walkthroughs, I just jotted down some notes, and some of the things that we're going to be doing, they've been happening already, but just putting emphasis, is having see something, say something signage in the building. Georgia has put that out to where there's posters where if you see something, say something. One thing we know about school safety, and it's a concern that I had as a principal, it would be one of our own. It would be one of our own. It wouldn't be a stranger necessarily will walk in the building, but it would be one of our own. So have your eyes and ears listening to what's going on in the community. And good administrators, good teachers do that, and are aware of what's going on around them. Facebook posts, those types of things. The other thing is just making sure that we continue with our lockdown drills, having 2 of those a year. One will be done in the first month. Just making sure that doors stay closed and are not propped open. Also just emphasizing that students should not allow people in, so sometimes someone will knock outside the door and students will push the door open and let them in. We're very inviting. We need to make sure that we are communicating with students who continue to do that. We need to not do that. Class doors and windows, just keeping those closed. We are moving to a magnet system where the doors will stay locked. There'll be a magnet in the door jamb. The door will stay locked, but all it's going to require for us to go to lockdown is to pull those magnets and to close those doors. And when you do that and you practice that, it becomes habit. And in the event of a lockdown, you can literally have school lockdown in 10, 15 seconds. And seconds matter. Minutes matter, but seconds even more so. And then, of course, the strategic which is really cool. We didn't have these, but these are available. So literally every person in the district, no matter what campus they're on, if they have one of these, they can communicate through the Centegic app and through the website, which is very powerful. Silox is another thing. I'm familiar with that particular program, but again, just making sure that we start the year off, having people log in, communicating when they're here, when they're not here, logging in so that we know what's going on in the event. If something happens, we can go yellow, we can go red. Yellow meaning lockdown kind of within the building, but red is a big lockdown, and going over those. And then updating all safety plans and returning those to me by September 30th. That's another goal that we want to have too. So, and then as a final part to that, we felt the need to conduct a drill, a shooter drill that will be conducted on August 4th. And we have sat down with Dade County Sheriff's Department and Trenton, and they will be involved in that. We will be conducting that with staff present so that they can see what it looks like. In Walker County, we did about 5 or 6 years ago at one of the high schools, and it was very productive. You learn a lot. You learn a lot. Mistakes are made, but you learn from your mistakes and moving forward. I think it's going to be very beneficial to do that. And like I said, our Dade County folks have really been proactive, our police departments, and they didn't feel prepared. They don't feel prepared, and they want to feel prepared. And there's nothing better than if a situation were to happen, that you feel prepared, as opposed to not knowing what to do. But with all of the, from Centegic to Silox to having these walkthroughs, I think we're going to be in a very good position to keep our kids safe. And that's the number one priority for any school in any school system, is keep kids safe. So that's kind of a safety update. Then you have in front of you as well, that was shared with you, is the parent and family engagement policy that's just been updated. That is basically an overview of everything that each of the elementary schools will be doing over the year in terms of how to engage parents through the Title I program, what's required of us, the meetings we're required to have, the documentation we're required to have. And I met with principals this morning. I will be visiting each school, each elementary school, and sitting down with those principals to kind of go over where are they at in this process from last year, what do we need to work on, what do we need to improve, and kind of make sure that we are in compliance with federal law and with state law. So that is there before you. And then the last thing is, last week we received our federal allocations for title funds. I think you have that document as well. So for Title I Part A, the district has been allotted $488,000, $488,632, which is an increase of 7% from fiscal year 22. Title II funds will be $80,980, increase of 7% from fiscal year 22. And then Title IV will be $35,149. That's an increase of 6% from fiscal year 2022. So increases there. It's always good when things increase and not decrease. So there's some extra funding there. Once our CLIP is approved, it's pending right now at the state level. Once we get that approved, we'll be able to budget these items and present that back to you, how this will be budgeted. And a lot of that goes into salaries, and but it also needs to line up with our school improvement plans. Questions? Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the consent agenda discussion. The first thing is GSBA exemplary board application.
I recommend the board approve the submission of the exemplary board application for FY '22. The board approved going through this process several months back, but approval is needed by the board to submit this application to GSBA. Everything that's included in this application is our strategic plan, our balanced scorecard, Georgia Vision Project, the governance team self-assessment that you all completed, superintendent evaluation, which is done annually, local board education training requirements, our board norms and protocols, accreditation, board member ethics, and then our fiscal responsibility through our budget calendar.
Any questions? All right, next is financial reports.
And Ms. Lauren Gresham will be presenting the monthly financials.
So our financials will be a little bit shorter this month because our general fund, the financials for it will be complete after August. Ms. Paula and I are striving to get things closed out and wrapped up as quickly as possible. We have started off and we're expecting the process to be smooth sailing. And as soon as everything is closed out, we will present to you guys the June 30th, 22 financials for the general fund. So tonight in front of you, you do have our overview for Splash 5 and 6. It is hard to believe, but we completed 100% of fiscal year 22. So that's July 1st, 21 through the end of June 22. And for Splash 5, our previous month's balance was $2,810,015.77. We earned $338.41 in interest. We issued checks for $109,735.69, leaving us with a balance of Splash 5 for $2,700,618.49. Moving down to Splash 6, our previous month's balance was $1,146,695.57. We earned $47.99 in interest, and from sales tax, we earned $313,398.88, leaving us with a balance for Splash 6 of $1,460,142.44. And our total for both Splash 5 and 6 is $4,160,760.93. The last section on there is a 3-month or a 3-year comparison of our revenue, and as you can see, it has increased. The next document that you have is for our construction in progress at the Dade Middle School for the gym improvement. In the month of June, we made one payment of $7,313.59, and that left us with a contract balance remaining of $78,521.08. Moving forward, the next document that you guys have is a summary report of the Splash 5 expenditures, and it's broken down by facility. In the blue column, you have the monthly expenditures for June 22, and in the column to the right, in the gray, you have the year-to-date expenditures for each facility. In the next document, this is our last report for this month, and again, the information is as of June 30th, 22. This is an overview of all of our expenditures for the grants. If you look at the column to the far right, it shows the percentages of each grant that we have expended. And that is all that I have for you guys this month. Any questions? I know it's short and sweet, but thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Any papers here?
Next on the agenda is board policies.
I recommend the board approve the 4 policies that were laid on the table at the June 27th board meeting. These policies were divisive concepts, complaint resolution process, parents' bill of rights, material harmful to minors complaint resolution process, and then unstructured break time. And Corey will be here tomorrow, facilitating whole board training and reviewing these policies with you all.
Are there any questions about these policies? If none, the next is Chromebook replacements.
As you previously heard from Chris Green, our Director of Information Technology, I recommend the board approve the purchase of 250 Chromebooks for $99,250.
Any questions on that? Okay, next is federal programs of parent and family engagement.
This is an annual plan that has to be approved, so I recommend the board approve the federal program parent family engagement plan for FY 23. policy of the board is just, the term policy is used as a parent-family engagement policy. It's more or less a plan, but it's not a board policy.
Any questions on that one? Okay, next is federal programs allocations.
I recommend the board approve the FY '23 federal program allocations as presented.
Any questions on that one? Okay, next is, fuel.
I recommend the board approve the purchase of diesel fuel from Jet Energy at $3.85 per gallon and unleaded fuel with no ethanol for Valley Oil in the amount of $3.51 per gallon. This puts our tanks, puts them full to begin our school year.
Any questions on that? If not, we move on to public input. Is there any public input? Okay, there's no public input. The next is the consent agenda consideration. So do I hear a motion to accept, items 1 through 7 on the consent agenda?
Make a motion to accept 1 through 7.
Second.
All in favor? The next is executive session for personnel and safety, and that's at 1 and 2. Do I hear a motion to enter into executive session?
Make a motion.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
All in favor?